Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture of Programming in C. This is Dr. Reena Shrastha, working as Associate Professor and Dean in the School of Computer Applications at Bhau Banarsidass University. Today in this lecture, I will be talking about the various operators present in C. Whenever we make program, we need to perform certain operations, certain mathematical operations for performing the calculation. So for that, we need operators. And every programming language provides these set of operators so that we can make our programs properly. So let us move on to the presentation to start the topic for today's lecture. So basically, a operator is a symbol that specifies the mathematical, logical, or relational operation to be performed. It is a symbol that you can see on the keyboard. So with the help of this symbol, by using the symbol, we can perform various operations. These operators can be divided into various categories and we will study category-wise operators. So the first category that we have is the arithmetic operators. These are binary operators. They require two operands and then they produce some output. These operators can be applied to integers or floating point numbers. These are the operators that you were studying throughout your schooling. And one more operator is here that we will discuss it. That we will discuss. So the operators that we have here is plus for addition, minus for subtraction, multiplication is indicated with the help of an asterisk symbol. Then for division, we have the slash symbol, and this is the modulus operator that provides you the remainder. So although all the other operators work in the very same fashion that we studied earlier, but the modulus operator provides us the remainder. So suppose we are dividing 5 by 2, then the remainder that we get is 1. So with the help of this statement, 5 mod 2, the output that we will get is 1. Now, the output of any operator will depend on the input that we are providing. What do you mean by this? The type of the input will indicate the type of the output that we are getting. So as I said that we can use integer or floating point numbers here. So we have different data types indicating integer and floating point numbers to store the values related to integers and floating point numbers. So if we pass one integer and one float value here for addition, the result that we will get is a float value. The same is the case with other operators. Now, if we pass one integer and other value also as integer, then the output will be integer. Same is the case with division. If we pass both the values as integer, the result will be integer. But while dividing a number by another number, the result can be a fractional value even if we pass integer inputs. So in case of using division operator, when we are passing integer type of values, we need to be very cautious that we might lose some of the result. So in that case, what we need to do is we need to typecast one of the input to the floating point type. So with that, the output that we will get will be a floating point type output, and we will not lose the value. Now let us move on to the next category. The next category of operators that we have is relational operators. These are basically comparison operators, and these operators compare two values. And the output that we get from these operators is either true or false. The Boolean value true or false. So the operators that we have in this category is less than, greater than, less than equal to, or greater than equal to. So these are simply for comparison of two values. So these operators are also binary operators. So suppose we are giving input here as 5 and 2, and we are checking that 5 is less than 2 or not. So this will return a false value. If we are giving a value 5 and 5, and then we are checking that 5 is less than 5 or not, then again we will get a false value. But in case of less than or equal to operator, at that particular time we will get a true value because 5 is equal to 5. So in case of less than equal to or greater than equal to, we are checking equality also, but this is strictly less than or greater than operator, and we are checking whether the value is less than the other value, or with the help of this operator, we are checking whether the value is greater than the other value or not. So these are the relational operators that we have in C. Now, let us move on to the next category of operator. The next category is of equality operator. Basically, these operators check the equality of two operands, that whether the two given operands are equal or they are not equal. So basically, they checks the equality of two variables. These operators also return either true or false depending on the result, and they are generally used with character or integer values and not with float, as they are approximate values. What do we mean by this? The float values that we store in the floating point variables, float type of variables, they are basically approximation values, because we know that whenever we divide a number by another number, we can have fractional values, for example, 0.333333 and so on. But whenever it is stored, we have limited space allocated for a particular type of variable. So whenever it is stored in that variable, it is the final remaining values are truncated, because we do not have space for that much of 3333 and 3. So the remaining value is truncated and we get a round off value there. So they are basically floating point values are approximation values, and that's why we do not use equality operators with floating point values. The relational operators can be used with floating point values, but the equality operators should not be used. You can use it, but it should not be used because that might produce incorrect results. So here we have two operators, equal to. This is to check the equality of two variables or two values that we are passing, and not equal to, this is the opposite of equal to, and this is to check whether the two values are not equal or not. So if the two values are equal and we are using equality operator, then we will get a true value. If the two values are not equal, then we will get the false value. But in case of not equal to operator, the reverse will be true. If the values are not equal, then we will get a true value. And if the values are equal, we will get a false value. The next set of operators that we have is logical operators. Basically, in this category, we have three type of operators: and, or, and not. For all these three operators, they work on Boolean values, and they are also binary operators. So we have a truth table for these operators, and the binary values are being operated according to these truth values or this truth table. So for AND operator, if we see the truth table that we have is, if the two inputs are 0, 0, then the output will be 0. If the two input is 0 and 1, then the output will be 0. If one input is 1 and the second input is 0, then again the output will be 0. And if both the inputs are 1, then the output will be 1. How we can summarize this? The output will be 1 only if both the inputs are 1. Okay, so simply by checking whether both the inputs are 1 or not, then we can say that the output of this particular AND operator will be this one. If both the inputs will be 1, the output will be 1. Otherwise, in any other case, the output will be 0. Now, the second operator in the logical category that we have is the OR operator. This is indicated with two pipe symbols, parallel pipe symbols. The truth table for this is 0, 0 will produce 0, 0 and 1 will produce 1, 1 and 0 will produce 1, and 1 and 1 will produce 1. So how we can summarize it? If any one of the input is 1 or if it is true, then the output will be true. And if both the inputs are true, then also the output will be true. So here for 0 and 1, the output is 1. For 1 and 0, the output is 1. And for 1 and 1, the output is 1. So in all the cases where we have one input, the output will be 1. The next operator that we have is the NOT operator. It just reverses the value. It just give you the opposite result. If the value is 0, this is unary operator. It works on a single operand. If the input value of that operand is 0, then the output that you will get is 1. And if the input value is 1, then the output that you will get is 0. It just negates the value. Now, one important concept with respect to these logical operators is that logical expressions operate in a shortcut fashion, and the evaluation is stopped when it is known for sure what the final outcome would be. So these logical expressions that we make with the help of these logical operators and or are not, these operators work in a shortcut fashion. Now, what do we mean by this shortcut fashion? It means that the evaluation is stopped when it is known for sure that what is the final outcome of the expression. So how we can check the final outcome of the expression without evaluating the complete expression? Let's see the example here. Suppose we have this expression with the logical AND operator. So we have used relational operator here. We have used relational operator here. So from here we will get a Boolean value. From here we will get a Boolean value, and then the operation and operation will be performed on these Boolean values. Now suppose from x is greater than y, the output that we get is a zero value, the false value. Then in that case, we know that if any one output is false, then the output of the AND operator, the logical AND operator, will be a false value, the zero value. So in that case, there is no need to evaluate P is less than Q, or there is no need to waste time on evaluating this expression. So this is how the shortcut manner works. With the help of this expression only, we came to know that the output of this expression will be a false value, will be a zero value. So we did not evaluate it P is less than Q. But if the output of this expression x is greater than y is 1, then in that case we need to evaluate this value. If it is 0, then only we can skip the evaluation of P is less than Q. Similarly, let's see the second example. Here we have used the logical OR operator. So in this case, A is greater than B. If this value yields a 1 value, the result of this expression A is greater than B is 1, then in this case, we know that even if one value is 1 for this logical OR operator, the output that we will get will be a 1 value, the true value. So we can skip the evaluation of E is less than t, because the output of E is less than t, whether it is 0 or 1, will not affect the result of this complete expression. So this is how the shortcut fashion works, and the logical expressions work in a shortcut fashion. Now the next set of operators that we have is unary operators. Unary operators are basically those operators that work on a single operand. So we have three operators in this category: minus, increment operator, and decrement operator. Minus is the unary negative operator. For simply negating a value, if we have a positive value, for simply negating that value, we can use minus operator. This increment and decrement operator is used to increment the value of any variable by 1. If we use increment operator, then it increments the value of any variable by 1. And if we use minus minus, this is the decrement operator, it decrements the value by 1. So if the value of x is 5 and we use x5, now the value of x will be 6. And if the value of x is 7 and if we use x minus minus, then we will get a value 6. Now both these operators, either increment or decrement, they work in two fashions. We can use them in two ways. That is, we can prefix it or we can postfix it. So basically increment and decrement both can work in either prefix manner or postfix manner. What do we mean by this? Now if meaning of prefix is to write it like plus plus x, and meaning of postfix is to write it like x plus plus. So if we are prefixing the increment operator, then the expression in which we are using this plus plus x, the value of x will be first incremented and then it will be used in the expression. But in case of x plus plus, first the value will be, the already assigned value of x will be used in the expression, and then the value of x will be incremented. Let us see this with the help of one example. Suppose we have the value of x and y as 5. Now we write x is equal to y plus plus, then The after the evaluation of this expression, now what will be the value of x and what will be the value of y? The value of x will be 5. Why? Because we have used here post increment operator. So first the value of y, the already assigned value of y will be used for evaluating this expression. So the value 5 will be assigned to x and then the value of y will be incremented. So after this expression, the value of x will be 5 and the value of y will be 6. In the same way, if we write the expression as x is equal to plus y, so in this case, what will happen is this is a pre-increment operator. So for evaluation of this expression, first the value of y will be incremented and then the final value of y will be used in this expression. So the value of y will be incremented and now this value will become 6 and the value 6 will be assigned to x. So after this expression, the value of y will be 6 and the value of x will also be 6. In the very same fashion, in the very same manner, the decrement operator also works. Now the next operator that we have is the conditional operator. This is represented with the help of a question mark and a colon. This is basically a ternary operator. Why we call it as ternary operator? Because it takes 3 operands to work. So how it is written, how it is used? It is used in this way. Expression, this is the first expression. Question mark, expression 2 and expression colon and then expression 3. So the result of this expression, total expression will be, firstly the expression will be evaluated. If it is true, then the result will be expression 2 and if it is false, then the result will be expression 3. So let us see an example of this. So for we are using this ternary conditional operator to evaluate whether what is the larger value within two values. So we will write it like this. We will have a condition A is greater than B, and if this A is greater than B, if it is true, then the result will be A, and if it is false, then the result will be B. So we can write it in this way, and with the help of this expression, we will get that whether A is larger or B is larger. Now the next set of operators that we have is bitwise operators. These operators basically work on bit level. They do not work on decimal values, they work on bit values. So first the value is converted into bitwise form and then the operation is performed on that value. So it performs operations at bit level. This is generally used for integers, and integers are treated as sequence of bits and then the operation is performed on that. Here also we have 4 bitwise operators with this category. We have some more operators. We will study it now. The first one is AND. It is represented with a single ampersand, then OR with a single pipe symbol, XOR with a caret symbol and NOT with a tilde symbol. So these are bitwise operators, and the truth table for AND, OR and NOT is exactly the same as what we studied for logical operators. So let us check it with the help of one example. Suppose we have two values represented in bit sequence in this form. So the first value is 10, 10, 10, 10, and the second value is 01, 01, 01 and 01. So if we perform an AND operation on this, bitwise AND operation on this, the output that will be get is all zeros. Why? Because these two bits will be ANDed, and 1 is 0, 1 is 1. So if one of the input is 0, then the output will be 0. So in all the cases, one of the inputs are 0, so the output will be 0. But if we apply the OR operator here, bitwise OR operator here, then what will happen is, in every case, one of the input is 1. So the output will be all ones. Now if we apply the NOT operator, suppose on the first operand, then what we will get is, the first operand is 10, 10, 10, 10, and the output that we will get is 01, 01, 01 and 01, because every bit will be negated here. So we will get this output. Now let us check the XOR operator because it has a different truth table. So for XOR operator, the truth table that we have is 00 is 0, 10 is 1, 01 is 1, and 11 is 0. So how we can summarize it, how we can understand it is that if we have odd number of ones, then the output will be 1. And if we have even number of ones, then the output will be 0. So here the number of ones is 0. It is a even value, so the output is 0. Here the number of ones is 2. It is a even value, so the output is 0. In these two cases, the number of ones is 1. It is an odd value, and so the output is 1. So bitwise operation will be performed based on this truth table. Now we have two more shift operators. These two more bitwise operators, and these are basically shift operators. So we have left shift operator and right shift operators. These shift operators are depicted with the help of angular brackets. So by having these two angular brackets in this direction, this is left shift operator and this is right shift operator. Now what these shift operators do is, if the number is converted in bit sequence and left shift operator left shifts the bits. So if we are shifting the bits to left direction, then we will have vacant spaces at the right hand side. And those vacant spaces on the right hand side will be filled with zeros. And the bits that are moving out from the left hand sides, we will lose those bits. So if those bits are 0, then it's okay. But if those bits are 1, then we will definitely lose those bits. So these are also binary operators, and in the very same way, the right shift operator also works. It shifts the bits in the right direction. So how does it work? Suppose the value of x is 000111101, and we are left shifting the variable x by 1. So this is indicating that how many bit positions to be shifted. So if we are left shifting it by 1, then the value that we will get is 0011101 and 0. So this was the last one here. This one gets shifted to this position, and this position is now vacant, and we will have a 0 here. So 1 is now here, and this is a 0. And from here, this 0 left shifted, and then we lost this 0, and so we have just 2 zeros and then 111. So this is 2 zeros and then 111. In the same way, if we are right shifting the value, and suppose we are right shifting the same value with 2, then what will happen is the last two bits are going to be lost. We are going to lose these two values, and at the end we will have 111. So here we have 111, and because two positions get vacant here, so 2 zeros will be added. Now one more important concept associated with the shift operators. If we have sufficient number of space and if we are not losing any one, then left shifting a value will multiply it by 2. Left shifting by 1 bit will multiply it by 2, and right shifting by 1 bit will divide the number by 2. So we can use it for this purpose also. So for example, we have this value x with this bit sequence 00000010. So basically this is representing the value 2, and suppose if we are left shifting it by 2 bits, then we will get this value. So by left shifting it by 2 bits, first it will get multiplied by 2, so it will become 4, and then again we are left shifting it, so this value will become 8. So the output that we are getting by left shifting this value by 2 bit is 8. You can convert it in decimal value and you can see that this value is 8. When we are right shifting the number by 1 bit, I said that it will divide the number by 2. So if this number gets right shifted, the number that we are showing here, if it gets right shifted by 1 bit, then it will get divided by 2. So after right shifting it, this is the output, and this is the binary equivalent for the number 1. So earlier it was 2 and it got divided by 2. So now it is 1. Next set of operator that we have is assignment operator. Assignment operator is used to assign the value of one variable or one expression to another variable. So on the left hand side, this is also a binary operator. In the left hand side, we will have one variable in which the value will be assigned. On the right hand side, we can have either a variable or a expression. So it can be written in this way. The assignment operator, the plain assignment operator, we can use it this way: x is equal to y plus p plus t multiplied by f. So this expression will be evaluated and the value, the result of this expression will be assigned to x. Now the next assignment operator that we have is compound assignment operator. So basically it is operator and then equal to. So for example, we can have plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplication equal to, division equal to, modulus equal to, and many more combinations that we can have. So what does it mean? Suppose we have the value of variable sum as 5 and the value of variable x as 2. And if we are writing it as sum is plus equal to x, then the meaning of this compound assignment operator is sum is equal to sum plus x. This is expanded in this way. Sum is equal to sum plus x. So the result of this expression will be sum is equal to 7. In the same way, other compound assignment operators can be expanded. Now the next operator that we have is the comma operator. The comma operator basically takes two operands and it works by evaluating the first and discarding its value, and then it evaluates the second and returns the value as the result of the expression. So we have two operators separated by a comma. The value of first is evaluated. That might be getting used in the evaluation of the second expression, and then the second expression is evaluated, and the final result of this comma separated expression is the result from the second expression. We will see it with the help of an example. Now these comma separated operands can be chained together, and if we chain it together, then they are evaluated in left to right sequence with the rightmost value yielding the result of the expression. Let us see it with the help of an example. If we have variables, integer type of variables, a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3 and x is equal to 0. And if we write the expression as x is equal to, in bracket plus plus a, comma b is equal to b plus a. So in this expression, what we are doing is we are using this comma operator. So what will happen is comma operator works in a left to right fashion. So firstly, this plus plus a will get evaluated, and since it is a pre-increment operator, the value of a will be incremented. So now the value of a will become 3, and then b is equal to b plus a. So the value of b is 3, and now the value of a is 3. So b plus a is 6. This will be assigned to b also, and this value 6 will be assigned to x also here. So in this way, the comma operator works. Now, so that's why I've written here as the value of x is 6. Now, if we use chaining of this comma operator, then what will happen is we will have plus plus a. Suppose we write it like plus plus a, then d is equal to p plus h, then c is equal to s plus t, and this expression. Then what will happen is, firstly, plus plus a will get evaluated, then it will be discarded, then d is equal to p plus h is evaluated, this is discarded. Why we are using the term discarded? Actually, we are not discarding the value. These expressions are getting evaluated and the values are updated according to this evaluation. We are using the term discarded because that result, we are not directly using that result to be assigned to the variable on the left hand side. The value that we are assigning to the variable on the left hand side is the value that we are getting from the last expression. That's why we are using this word, that we are discarding the output that we are getting from all these expressions. Okay. Now the next operator that we have is the size of operator. Size of operator, basically it takes one expression as input, and then what it will do is it will return the size in bytes. It will return the size of this, either this name of the type, variable or expression in bytes. So if we have two variables of integer type x and y, and if we write it like size of x plus y, then the result will be 2, because this is an expression and the result of this expression will be an integer value, and so the output will be 2. If we write size of int, then int also takes 2 bytes in memory, and so the output will be 2. Okay. So these were the various operators that we have in C, the various categories and the various operators under those categories that we have in C. Let us now understand a very important concept related to the operators, and that is operator precedence and associativity. Now, what do we mean by operator precedence and associativity? Precedence is basically the priority of the operator that is associated with it. What do we mean by it? For example, in one expression, we have multiple operators. Then which operator need to be evaluated first, and what should be the sequence of evaluation of those operators? So for that, we need to define a priority in between those operators, that this operator is of the utmost priority. If it is present in the sequence of, if it is present in the expression, then it will be evaluated first, and then the remaining operator or the other operator will be evaluated. So basically, with the help of precedence, we can identify the sequence in which the operators will be evaluated. Now, what do we mean by associativity? Now, suppose in one expression we have a single operator existing multiple times. For example, A plus B plus C plus D. So we have this plus operator which is existing in the expression, and which is occurring in the expression multiple times. Then what will happen is plus to be performed first and which plus to be performed later on, because for every instruction there should be a clear cut rule that what should be done and how the computer should interpret it. So for that we will define, or the C has defined, the associativity of the operator, and we can have two associativities of the operator, either left to right or from right to left. So if the associativity of the operator is from left to right, then the operators will be evaluated in the sequence from left to right. If the associativity is right to left, then the same operators will be evaluated in the sequence from right to left. Okay. So now we are going to see the operators in the sequence of their precedence. So the operators that are shown in the slide first have more precedence than the operators that are coming later on. So the utmost priority operators that we have is the bracket operator, the square bracket operator. These operators are related to array, and this is just to combine the expression. So we have not studied it explicitly, but these are the operators with utmost priority. Dot operator we will study when we will study the structure topic. So this is a membership operator. Dot operator is the membership operator used to access a member of a structure. Arrow is to access the member of a structure when we use pointer to store the value of the structure. So these are the four operators having the utmost or the maximum priority, and if these operators are present in the expression, these operators will be evaluated first. The next set of operator that we have is the increment operator, decrement operator, the unary operator minus and plus, the not operator, the tilde operator. These are logical and bitwise not operators. The typecasting operator, we will study it later on. The indirection operator, these are related with the pointer concept, and the size of operators. All these operators are of the same priority and they work from right to left. The associativity of these operators are from right to left. Now the next set of operators that we have is multiplication, division, and modulus. These three operators are of the same precedence and the associativity is left to right. Then we have plus and minus. These two operators have the same precedence, but the precedence of plus and minus is less than these operators. That's why I've specified that the sequence in which we are studying these operators right now, the sequence specifies the precedence, decreasing precedence of the operators. So plus minus are of the same precedence and the associativity is left to right. Then shift operators with left to right associativity, and then these relational operators with left to right associativity. Then after that, we have the equality operators again with left to right associativity. The logical, sorry, no, this is the bitwise and, bitwise or, and bitwise nor operator in this sequence of precedence, and the associativity is left to right. Then we have the logical AND operator with left to right associativity, OR operator, logical OR operator with left to right associativity, and ternary operator with right to left associativity. The associativity of ternary operator is from right to left. After this, we have this assignment operator, the simple assignment operator, and these compound assignment operators with right to left associativity. Finally, we have the comma operator, and the comma operator is having the left to right associativity. This is an example to show how the expression is evaluated. So suppose we have x is equal to 3 multiplied by 4 plus 5 into 6, then the sequence of precedence that we saw right now, in that sequence, we need to evaluate this bracket first. So what will happen is 3 multiplied by 4 plus 5 is evaluated first. So we will have 9 here multiplied by 6. Now, in this expression, we have two multiplication operators. So if we have two operators of same nature, then what will happen is the associativity will come into picture. And associativity for multiplication operator is left to right. So first 3 into 9 will get evaluated. So we will get 27, and then it will be multiplied by 6. The final result that we will get is 162. So to conclude the lecture, in this lecture, we discussed about various operators that are present in C, categorizing it into different categories. So we studied arithmetic operators, logical operators, relational operators, bitwise operators, unary operators, then ternary operator, conditional operator, then the comma operator, size of operator, and then we studied important concept related to these operators, that is precedence and associativity of the operators. So with the help of this concept, the concept of operators, we can perform a lot of operations and do the calculations in a very proper manner while we are making C programs. So thanks for watching this lecture.